Hello everybody, this is Daniel from fitnessbender.com, and today I'm going to be taking you through a basic low-impact beginner workout. Now we're going to go through starting off with a little bit of warm-up, then we're going to go through our total body routine. It's going to be focusing on the majority of the major muscle groups, the entire body. Then we're going to get a little extra focus on the abdominal muscles, obliques, and lower back through that core. And then we're going to finish off with a little bit of cool down and stretch. Now, you're not going to need any equipment for this routine, so you don't need to worry about having anything to go through the exercises. You might want a little of extra weight for one of the exercises. Otherwise, you can do it with just body weight perfectly fine. Also, an exercise mat might come in handy if you're going to be doing this on a hard surface. Otherwise, if you have a nice soft surface to do it on, you don't even need an exercise mat. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up. All right, let's go ahead and start into our warm-up, and we'll start off with just walking in place. Just get those feet moving back and forth, nice and easy. We're moving into this really slowly. Just focus on keeping that body moving the entire time. It's kind of very slowly warming your body up, getting that blood to start kind of pumping around a little bit. We're going to an arm cross swing next. So those arms come across in front of your body. Keep those feet moving. Nice slow range of motion, but really try to push that range of motion. So you want to try to get those arms across in front of your body as much as you can and back. And we're going to do a standing oblique knee lean next. So arms on your waist, just nice and slow, lean off to the left as far as you can, then off to the right as far as you can. Just trying to get as much range of motion out of it as possible. Very nice slow motion. We'll move to an arm circle next, so arms straight out to your sides, doing a nice small circle to begin with. And slowly start making that circle bigger and bigger. Keep that arm nice and straight. Nice big full range of motion. Moving it bigger and bigger. Then a nice big full circle as big as you possibly can in front of your body and behind. And let that relax. We're doing a torso twist next, or torso circle next, so arms or chest nice and straight, flat down. Rotate around, pause at the bottom, rotate back the opposite direction. Nice slow fluid motion. One more back around. And torso twist next, so straight up and tall. Rotate left to right with those shoulders. Keep those hips straight forward. Keep those feet straight forward. Only rotate as far as is comfortable for that torso, and without rotating those hips. And we're going to a leg swing, so one leg at a time. You're going to bring that leg in front and back. We're just going to do half and half. If you need a little extra balance, you can grab onto the back of a chair or a countertop. Switch legs. It's a nice, slow, controlled motion. It's not a real fast kick. And let that one relax. We're going into a deadlift next, so chest straight again, one more time. Knees slightly bent, you can go straight down, bending from those hips. And slowly back up, right back down again. Try to get a good stretch of those hamstrings every single time. And our last one, we're going to go into a high knee, so basically just lifting one knee up at a time. Get those knees up as high as you possibly can, just alternating back and forth. Really trying to stretch out that glute muscle, that butt muscle, as well as opening up that hip joint a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more range of motion out of it. And that is it. Good job. Our warm-up is complete. We'll be starting into the rest of our routine in just a second. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and start into this next portion. We're doing each exercise for 10 repetitions, and we're going to be going through 2 sets. So we're going to be going through 2 groups of 10 repetitions for each exercise before we move to the next. So let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, which is going to be an alternating lunge. So with this one, you're just going to be standing up nice and straight and tall. You step out with one foot, drop down as low as is comfortable, and then come back up. So that's going to be your regular lunge motion. The range you go is going to be completely up to you as far as what your body can handle. So let's go ahead and start up. Step out with one foot as far as is comfortable, drop down as low as is comfortable, come back up, and then step back. Same thing again with the other side. Step out, drop straight down between those feet, come right back up. Make sure that chest stays straight up and tall. Again, If you want to make this a little bit easier, you just limit that range of motion with that step out as well as how far you drop down. If you want to make it harder, you take a nice long step and drop down as low as you can. So you can completely modify this for how strong those legs are. Just keep that motion going. Keep those lungs open. Again, just go as far as you can control. If you feel like you're having trouble coming back up, then take your time, limit that range of motion. We're almost done. This is our last repetition right here. And let it relax. We're gonna do one more set of those. Go ahead and let those legs kind of relax for just a second. One more set, another 10 repetitions. And start up again. Step out, drop down as low as is comfortable, right back up again. Same thing with the other side. Drop down, and back up. Try to keep those hands off of those legs. You're gonna have a tendency to try to push on those legs to help yourself get back up. All you're doing is cheating those legs, you're not working them hard enough. So just take your time. Again, limit that range of motion if you need to. Almost done, just a few more to go. Again, keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Don't hold your breath. Chest straight up and down. One more repetition. And let it relax. All right, let's go and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a push-up. Now, I'm going to be doing mine off the ground, or all the way down on the ground. If you're not quite strong enough to do a full or a half push-up, which is perfectly fine, then you're going to want to either do it standing off of like a countertop, like a kitchen countertop, off of your bed, off the edge of your bed, or even off of a wall, if it's makes it much more easy. Basically, the higher you come up off the ground with your body, the easier it's going to get, the more angle you have on your body. So I'm going to be doing this off the ground, like I said. So a half push-up is off your knees, hands just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, nice flat back, and drop down as low as you can go. Again, if you need to limit that range of motion, that's perfectly fine. Just try to get as far as you possibly can down towards the ground while still keeping that back flat. I don't want to see you kicking your butt up and trying to do a push-up like this. You want to have those hips down nice and low. Head facing down towards those hands. Keep those lungs open, don't hold your breath. Almost done, just a couple more. And here's your last one right here. And let it relax. So pause for just a second, we're gonna do one more round of those. If that last round you just did was a little bit too easy for you, if you're doing it against the wall or off of a high counter, you can always try to find a slightly harder version, or you can just try to really focus on trying to get a little bit more range of motion. If it was too hard for you, then try to find that easier range of motion by either increasing that incline or by limiting that range of motion. All right, so let's go ahead and start into our next round. Same exact exercise. Keep those hips down nice and low, straight line from knee to shoulder, and start up. Nice and slow down. Back up. Keep those lungs open again. Never hold your breath. Facing down towards those hands. Halfway. If your muscles are starting to give out on you, that's perfectly fine. Just pause, take a short little break, try to catch the rest of the repetitions with me in a second. Otherwise, go ahead and pause it there and just rest until we move on to the next exercise. One more. And let it relax. All right, I'm going to set this back up and get it out of the way. Get ready for our next exercise, which is going to be just a traditional squat. So this one is just going to be straight down, feet just about shoulder width apart. So I'm going to do it from the side here. Again, like I said, feet just about shoulder width apart. You can go a little bit wider if that's a little bit more comfortable for you, but keep them relatively narrow. You don't want to go too wide. So chest perfectly straight. You don't want to let your back round, even though we're not using any weight for this one. You always want to keep your form nice and clean, which is a nice flat back for this exercise. You're going to sit back in your heels, squat down as low as is comfortable, and then nice and slow right back up. That's all there is to it. Just feel like you're trying to sit back into a chair. So nice and slow, drop down, and right back up. Again, if you need to, limit that range of motion. Otherwise, trying to get as low as is comfortable without letting that lower back round. If you feel yourself start to hunch over as you drop down, you're going too far for that back to control. So you want to limit that range of motion. Or just try harder to keep that back flat. Again, weight more in your heels than in your toe. Whatever you do, just don't rock forward on your toe. You want to try to keep those knees back at least a little bit. You don't want to lean really, really far forward. Technically, the perfect form on a squat is keeping your chest and the shin bone of your leg at the same angle. So as you squat down, they actually mimic each other on the angle. So you might need to stand in front of a mirror to kind of see that if you don't have one handy. One more repetition. And go ahead and let it relax. All right, we've got one more round of those. Let those legs relax again for just a second. Nice big deep breath. Try to recover as best you can. You want to have a lot of oxygen in your system, so always take nice full deep breaths the entire time. No shallow breathing. All right, let's go into our next repetition or our next set. Another 10 repetitions. Again, chest nice and straight. No bending that back. Keep it nice and flat. Actually feeling like you're trying to push your chest forward a little bit. And start. Squat down nice and low. And back up. Remember, weighting those heels more than those toes. Mimicking the angle of your chest off of those shins, if you can see it. Otherwise, just focus on keeping that back nice and flat. Weight evenly dispersed in that foot, more towards that heel though. Halfway. Keep those lungs open, don't hold your breath. Again, if those legs are getting too tired, just limit that range of motion. Just 2 more repetitions to go. Last one. And let it relax. All right, shake those legs out, let them relax for just a second. We're going to move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a bent over arm circle. So this is going to be focusing on those muscles, the upper back, kind of across those shoulder blades a little bit. So with this one, you're going to have basically slight bend in your knee, but keep those legs relatively straight, flat back, so as far over towards the ground as you possibly can. If your hamstrings are too tight, that's perfectly fine. Just go as far as you can control. Or you can always bend those knees more to try to get your body tipped over further. The closer to parallel with the ground as you can go with that chest, the better. So I'm going to do this straight on so you can see what my arms are doing. Nice flat back, tip over from those hips, slight bend in those knees. Those arms come out to the sides and you're going to do a little circle forward right around that shoulder joint. So if you can't quite bring those arms up this high, that's perfectly fine. If you want to make it more difficult, you can always hold dumbbells or a water bottle or even canned food in your hands to give you a little extra weight. It doesn't take much when those arms are fully extended. And we're going to reverse directions, back the opposite way. Almost done. And let it relax. Go and stand back up. We're going to do that one more time. Let those arms relax. When you're going to the back side of that circle, you want to try to get those arms back behind your back as far as you possibly can. So really squeeze those muscles to the back of that shoulder and onto that upper back to try to get that range of motion out of it. If you can't quite get there, that's perfectly fine. Just focus on trying to do it next time. So again, nice flat back. Starting to our next round here. Arms come up. And nice small circle pushing forward. Keep those arms nice and straight, keep those lungs open. And reverse the directions on that circle. I know those arms are probably tired, but keep moving through it. Try to keep those arms up nice and high. And let it relax. Go and drop those arms. That's all for that exercise. We're moving on to our next one, which is going to be ice skaters. So standing up nice and straight and tall for this one. You're just going to be using one leg at a time, doing a nice slow range of motion with that leg. It's going to be working on balance. So if you don't have really great balance, you might want to do this with a chair close by. Otherwise, just standing up straight and tall, trying not to touch anything at all. So all your weight on one leg, the other leg's going to be out in front of you, just barely above the ground. You're nice and slow, hovering that foot off the ground, just slowly bring it back behind you. Pause for just a second, and slowly back again. It's a nice, slow, full range of motion. We're just going to do one set on each side rather than two on each side. Now, if you have the strength in that leg, to make it harder, you're just going to bring that leg up higher. So the higher you bring that leg, the harder that leg has to work. Keep that chest straight up and down. Try not to lean too far forward. As you bring that leg back behind you, you're going to limit that range of motion. That hip socket is going to limit that range of motion. So don't compensate by leaning forward. You want to keep that chest straight up and down so that leg's going to be relatively low behind you. And then as you bring that leg in front, then you can bring it up nice and high. Almost done. Last one. Nice big deep breath. No holding your breath. And let that leg relax. We're going to do the same exact thing on that other side. So shake that leg out for a second. I know that leg's probably pretty tired. You're probably feeling that hip. That's all from just stabilizing your hips, keeping everything nice and solid. So we're going to feel it on the same side, on the same place on the other side next. So straight up and down, chest nice and straight. All your weight on that opposite leg this time. Other leg hovering off just a few inches. Start with it nice and low, slowly back behind you, slowly back in front, and then raise it if you can. Remember, the higher you bring that leg, the harder it's going to be. Just keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Try to keep that leg as straight as you can. You're going to contract the muscles to the front of that thigh. Just try to get as much get that leg as straight as you can and hold it as straight as you can the entire time. So you should feel it not only in a little bit in that thigh, but you should feel it quite a bit in that outside thigh, a little bit into those glutes, not a whole lot, but you're also going to feel it quite a bit on the hip of that opposite leg, just for holding stability. Just keep that motion going. We're almost done. Keep those lungs open, breathing normally, nice big full deep breaths, no shallow breathing. Concentrate on that balance. If you need to, arms out to your sides to help you keep that balance, or holding onto the side of a chair, the back of a chair for extra balance. We have one more. Last one, back around in front. And let it relax. All right. So this next one is a lateral arm raise, and be straight up out to the side. If you have some weights handy, something really light, like maybe 1 or 2 pounds, you might want to use that. Otherwise, just arm weight will probably be fine at first. Again, you can always use something else. If you don't have dumbbells, you can use water bottles or canned food again, if you just need a little extra weight. So you can start with those palms facing forward, rotate that shoulder out, chest nice and straight and tall, legs slightly bent. Nice big deep breath in, those arms are gonna come straight up over top of your head. Touch those thumbs together, and then nice and slow back down. Don't let your arms completely relax before you go right back up again. Now try to get a nice big full range of motion on this. If you can't, that's perfectly fine. A lot of people have shoulder issues that don't allow them to get that full range of motion, but try to force it, try to get a little bit more out of it, as long as you don't have any kind of shoulder injuries. Now you want to really focus on this one to keep those arms in a straight line with your body. You're going to have a tendency, as you bring your arms up, to bring them forward in front of your body, but you want to try to keep them in a nice straight line, straight up from your body, so you actually can't see your arms. The whole time you're doing this, you should barely be able to see your arms out of your peripheral vision. If you can see your arms, then you're letting those arms come too far forward. So you want to try to keep them back behind you as much as possible. So not only should you be feeling it in your shoulder, the top of that shoulder right here, but you should be feeling it in between your shoulder blades on your back, your upper back as well, from trying to pull those arms back behind you. Just keep that motion going. We've got just a few more to go. Slight bend in that knee, nice big full deep breath each time. Back nice and straight. Make sure you're not leaning that chest back. Got one more repetition. And nice and slow back down. Let those arms relax. Let them release for just a second. Like I said, it doesn't take a whole lot of weight for those arms to get tired with these exercises. So body weight should be just fine, especially at the beginning. You can always add more weight later. All right, we're gonna do that one more time, another 10 repetitions. Palms facing forward, nice flat back. Try not to let your chest tilt back. You wanna keep your chest straight up and down. Palm or thumbs pointing out, start them up nice and slow, bring them up over top of your head. Touch those thumbs, slowly back down. And let it relax. Don't let those muscles completely relax. Bring it right back up again. Remember, you don't want to see those arms out of your peripheral vision. If anything, just barely. So you really want to squeeze those arms back behind you. Really make those upper back muscles have to work for this one as well. A lot of people have a lot of issues with shoulder immobility as far as limited range of motion for that shoulder. So really focus on trying to pull those arms back to try to get some of that range of motion back if you have issues with it. Halfway. Get those palms facing forward. Keep that back nice and flat. Get those arms back behind you outside that field of vision. Nice big full deep breaths. Don't hold your breath. Nice slow controlled motion. Focus on that range of motion. Focus on that motion. Don't let your arms just kind of relax and just hang there. You want to make sure all those muscles through your arms are nice and tensed. Keeping that arm nice and straight. Hand rigid. We have one more repetition to go. So last one, nice and slow up. And slowly let it relax back down. And let it release. All right, let those arms relax. Go grab a drink of water real quick. We'll take a short little break. When we come back, we're gonna focus on those core muscles, then do our stretch and cool down, and we'll be done. So go ahead and take that break. We'll be back in just a second. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started with our core section of this routine here in just a second. So if you're not ready, go ahead and get ready. We're gonna be down on the ground for all of these exercises. Go ahead and drop down on the ground. If you're on a hard surface, it's a good idea to have a mat or at least a towel spread out underneath you for at least a little extra padding. If you're on a carpet or something like that, you don't need anything at all. You should be perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise. We're gonna be doing this kind of the same way we did our last one. So 2 sets of 10 repetitions. So let's go ahead and get started with our first one, which is going to be just a traditional crunch. So laying flat on your back. Those feet are going to be flat against the ground, just about a 90-degree angle or close to it. Lay flat down on your back. Those hands are either come back behind your head or across your chest, whichever is more comfortable. With back behind your head, it makes it just a little bit more difficult, but it also gives you a little bit of a chance to support your head so your neck doesn't get quite so tired. So whichever version you want to do with that, I'm going to have my hands back behind my head. So hands back behind your head, you're going to contract those abdominal muscles, nice and slow, roll those shoulders up as high as you can without letting those arms pull forward in front of you. You want to try to keep those arms back behind you if you have those hands behind your head. So nice and slow, back down, and then right back up again. Nice slow squeeze, crunching up. Try to bring those shoulders down towards those hips. You're not trying to go up, you're trying to go in. So nice and slow back down again. Keep those lungs open, crunching forward towards those hips. Slowly back down again. Right back up. If you want to get a specific breathing pattern in with this one, because you're contracting those abdominal muscles, it's going to be exhale as you come up, then inhale as you drop back down towards the ground. Try to let those abs release, keep them just a little bit tense at the bottom, then right back up again. Already halfway through. Just keep it going, nice, slow, controlled motion. If you're not getting as much range of motion as me, that is perfectly fine. Most people have a pretty limited range of motion with these anyway, so that's fine. You'll build it up as you do more of them. Just make sure you're trying to go as far as you possibly can, constantly trying to get just a little bit further than you did the time before. We're almost done. Inhale slowly back down. We got one more repetition to go. Exhale up. Inhale slowly back down. And let it completely release. Go and let those abdominal muscles completely relax. So that's our first set. We need to do one more set of those. You can adjust those hands if you want to, either across your chest for a little bit easier version, or keep those hands back behind your head to give that neck a little bit of support, whichever is more comfortable for you. Let's go ahead and get ready for that next round. Hands back behind your head, or if that's what you're going to be doing. Nice and slow. Exhale up. Inhale slowly back down. Keep those abs nice and tight. Exhale back up. Inhale slowly back down. So again, really focus on that range of motion, trying to get up as high as you possibly can with each repetition. Again, you're trying to pull those shoulders down towards your hips rather than trying to get your shoulders up towards your knees. So you're trying to really kind of crunch forward and down, rather than forward and up. It's halfway. Exhale up. Inhale down. Again, if you have those hands back behind your head, try to keep those elbows back out of your field of vision. Just a couple more repetitions to go. Last one, crunch up nice and tight. Exhale, or inhale slowly back down, and let it completely release. All right, let's go and move on to our next exercise. You're going to be on your side for this one. Bring one elbow down right underneath that shoulder. It's going to feel a little bit weird on that shoulder at first, but I promise it will get stronger and you won't notice as much later. So, all your weight on that elbow and in your hip and on your knee. For the easier version, if you can't lift those hips without a little extra help, you're going to use this hand to bring those hips up, then pick it up off the ground and slowly let them down. Preferably, that hand is up on top of your hip the entire time and you're just doing that motion without using any assistance other than just pressing into that elbow and into those knees. So again, 10 repetitions. We're only going to be doing 10 repetitions per size. We're going to flip in the middle. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, preferably hand up on top of your hip to do the motion, lifting those hips up. If you need to, hand comes down in front, gives a little bit of assistance on the way up, but bring it up off the ground on the way down. So let's go ahead and start them up. Nice and slow, crunch that hip up. You're trying to pull this shoulder down towards your hip, slowly back down, keep a little bit of a hover, then right back up again. Exhale, and inhale, slowly back down. Try to keep those shoulders perpendicular to the ground. Try to keep those hips perpendicular to the ground. Try not to roll over forward. It's halfway right there. Or again, if that muscle starts getting too tired, that oblique on that bottom side starts getting too tired, then push that other hand down to help you get that hip up. Then bring it up off the ground and slowly lower without using that hand. Just keep going through it. Just do as many repetitions as you can. If you can't get through all 10, that's perfectly fine. Just do as many as you can, nice and clean. Almost done. One more repetition. And let it relax. We're going to switch around, do the same thing on the opposite side. So weight up in that elbow and on those knees. Hand up on top of that hip for the preferable version. If you have to, remember you can put that hand down on the ground to help you get up. Just make sure you bring that hand up off the ground as you drop back down towards the ground. Alright, so hand on that hip and bring those hips up nice and high. Shoulder comes down towards that hip and slowly drop. Keep a little bit of a hover and right back up. Squeeze that shoulder down. Try to get it underneath you as much as you can. Remember, exhale on the way up. Inhale on the way down. Keep those lungs open. Never hold your breath. It's over halfway. Two more. Try to mimic the same number of repetitions on this side as you did on the last side. And nice and slow, let that one completely relax. All right, we have one more exercise to go through. This is going to be a Pilates swimmer, so flat down on your stomach. Facing down towards that mat. Those hands be straight out in front of your body or straight down out on the floor. Legs in the opposite direction, nice and straight as well. Contract those arms and legs. You're going to lift your left hand and your right foot, so opposite hand and foot. Squeeze it up nice and high. Slowly drop it back down. And the same thing on the opposite side. So that right hand and left foot, squeeze up nice and high. Slowly back down. Just keep alternating back and forth. Nice, slow, fluid motion. Like I said, keep that face looking down towards that mat the entire time, barely hovering off that mat. Focus on trying to get as much range of motion out of that shoulder, that arm, and that hip socket, that leg as you can. Every single repetition, trying to really, really squeeze it up. Slowly let it relax back down. Let it completely relax on the ground each time. You can do one more in each arm. And last one over on the other side. And let it relax for just a second. We got one more round of those, one more repetition, or 10 more repetitions, one more set. So again, arms straight out, face flat down towards that mat, nose barely off that mat or off that carpet, whatever you're laying on. Left hand, right foot, squeeze them up nice and high. Slowly down. Right hand, left foot. Slowly down. Just keep alternating back and forth. Nice, slow, fluid motion. Keep those lungs open. Just breathing as normally as you possibly can. Should be feeling this through your glutes, those butt muscles, as well as that lower back. That's predominantly what we're trying to focus on, is that lower back. One more repetition. And let it relax. All right. Go ahead and get up off that mat, and we'll be starting into our cool down in just a second. All right, let's go and finish this routine off with a nice cool down and stretch. So basically what we're going to be trying to focus on is stretching out all those tired and tight muscles that we just created from our routine. So I'm feeling a little bit through my lower back and through my glutes. So let's go ahead and start off with a regular toe touch. You're also going to feel it through those hamstrings primarily. So feet just about shoulder width apart. Reach down towards those toes. Let it relax. Legs stay relatively straight. You don't have to be able to touch the floor just let it hang, let those hamstrings stretch out. Just go down as low as you can. You should feel yourself kind of slowly getting further and further down towards the ground the entire time. Hold it for just a little bit longer. And go ahead and let that relax. Go ahead and stand up nice and straight and tall. We'll bring those feet really nice and wide. So just kind of step them out, let those feet kind of scoot just a little bit. We're going to go straight down between those feet. This is going to be kind of a similar motion to what we just did, but it hits at a little bit different part of that leg. So straight down between those legs, towards the ground. Again, let those shoulders round forward, kind of let that lower back stretch out. And let that relax. Go ahead and stand back up. One arm's going to come across in front of your body. You're going to grab onto that elbow, pull across. We're going to stretch out that muscle across that shoulder blade. So we used it a couple of times today. So really pull it across. Keep it as close to your body as you can. Breathe normally. Just try to let those muscles release and stretch as much as possible. Same thing on the other side, so bring that other arm over, grab onto that elbow, pull across in front of your body. Again, try to keep as close to your chest as possible, really pulling across to get those muscles to the back of that shoulder blade to stretch out. And let it relax. So next one, we move to either a door jamb, an opening of a door, or an open piece of wall. You can put your hand against that wall or that door jamb, fingers facing back behind you. Then rotate that chest back towards that hand, trying to stretch out your chest as much as you can. So you should feel it a little bit through your forearm, a little bit into that elbow, a little bit into the front of that chest. So if you're feeling it more in your bicep or your elbow, just rotate that arm until you feel it more in your chest. Rotate as much as you can, like I said, away from that hand. Try to get that shoulder back towards the wall. And let that relax. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, fingers facing back behind you. Rotate that hand, or rotate those shoulders back towards that hand. Get that hand flat against that wall. And let it relax. We're going to stretch out those shoulders just a little bit. Trying to focus on just kind of letting that shoulder joint relax a little bit. Not a real intense stretch, but mainly just kind of letting the blood flow around a little bit. We're just going to do a nice big circle, one arm at a time. Bring it across in front of your body. Pause at the bottom and then back the opposite direction. Pause at the bottom and back again. We're just going to do a few repetitions. Really try to stretch that arm as much as you can. Just one more in each direction. Back again. And let it relax. So same thing on the other side. Arm comes up across. Pause at the bottom and back the opposite direction. Like I said, really try to stretch that chest out as much as you can, that shoulder out as much as you can by bringing that arm across in front of your chest and stretching back behind you as much as possible. And last one back in front. And let it relax. All right, we're going to stretch out that torso just a little bit, so we're going to try to focus on the outside of that oblique first. So hand up over top of your head, we're going to stretch this side. Feet relatively close together, and you're going to lean away from that elbow, that side. Try to get that rib cage, that hip as far apart as you can. Should feel that stretch to the outside of that torso. Pull it across. And let that one relax. Do the same thing on the other side. Hand back behind your head. Lean away. Try to get as much space from the base of that rib cage to the crest of that hip as you can. Stretch it. Breathe normally, keep those lungs open, don't hold your breath. And let it relax. All right, we're going to do one more, trying to stretch out those abdominal muscles. So standing up nice and straight and tall, hands on those hips, you're just gonna lean that chest up, so tilt that chest up as much as you can, and lean back just a little bit. You should feel those muscles engage a little bit through your abdominal muscles, but you should feel it stretch as well. So just kind of lean back just a little bit. Really rotating those hips back and tilting that chest up to get as much of that stretch as you can before you actually lean backwards. And go ahead and nice and slow, let that one relax. All right, I feel pretty stretched out. I feel nice and cooled down, so that means this workout is complete. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.